Okay, well then, all right, can I switch to the Arboretum first?
Well, I've got a concern about the
They've been waiting
Arboretum.
all
How
evening,
does the Arboretum come up for a vote? I think that's in my single member district, and I don't ever believe I moved for this to be a matter.
With
It
the
is.
Arboretum is in mine.
I believe the entry gate, I believe, is in mine.
Can I get my first? They've been here before 7 o'clock.
The impact is certainly in your community, that's the Arboretum, mine is affected, we need to talk about this before taking any votes that are.
For this presentation is just for information. There is no vote on this project. Just want to get feedback for it.
Mr. Colbert, we haven't seen you in a while.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. What about
Good.
yourself?
Very good, thank you. Let's see. Commissioners, neighborhood members, thank you for having us tonight. Hot day, appreciate the time. And this is again just a presentation update of our plans, a design that we're currently working through. I'm not looking for voting action. Purpose of this was just to start to engage the ANC and your everyone's needs and thoughts and advice, which is why you're just receiving this information for the first time. My name is Chris Spendley. I'm the Director of Development on the East Coast for UDR. We're an owner, operator, and developer of projects across the country. We're currently working on a design and going through the PE process here for project in the Union Market neighborhood with our partner here, Edens and Cooperative. With me, I have Eric Colbert and JD Lallemont from Eric Colbert and Associates. Carrie Kowalczyk, our land use counsel, in case anyone has questions of that nature. Alistair McKean from PMA and UDR Consulting. And Sohail Chowdhury from Edens. So this mixed-use building will be 302 apartments, 24,000 square feet of retail space on the ground level, and 200 underground parking spaces. So UDR, just to let everyone know who we are, my face is probably new to this ANC, so is our company. We do own roughly 1,500 apartments in the district. So while we're new to you all, we're not new to the district as a whole. And hopefully our partner Edens doesn't need an introduction to this ANC. They are the retail group behind the Union Market building in the Union Market neighborhood, and many other projects that they've presented to you previously. So if I could start maybe by orienting everybody on the site in question. I guess we have two maps here. And I wish that we would show the full ANC, but Union Market here, generally bordered by Ford Avenue to the south, New York Avenue to the north, 6th Street to the east, where you're going to get University. Our site located here at the top of Penn Street, at the top of Union Market. Maybe this is a better view over here. It's a block. Currently, this site is it's the former warehouse for Rock Creek Bottling Company, built in the late 50s. They bottled ginger ale there until about the 80s. Maurice Electric started using this as their warehouse, and you see their name on the facade today. Maybe I can give you a quick look of this. So here's the facade today. The older portion that was the former bottling area, and then the newer portion, which was built later, the former warehouse. So tenants in the warehouse have since vacated in 2015. Maurice Electric has moved to Maryland, so I'm not sure where everyone's getting their electric supplies now and lighting, but hopefully you found a way. With that, Eric, would you like to walk me through the design?
Sure, that'd be great. Being Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, as it was was pointed out, I'm Eric Colbert with Eric Colbert Associates Architects, and J.B. Lomahan is the senior designer for this project. And so you've all been oriented toward our site, which is very near New York Avenue, and there's an existing hotel on the north side of us, and then there's some other buildings. There may be another potential hotel built between us and New York. And then on the east side, there's industrial buildings that have some tenants in them. And so this is a picture of the existing building. Our plans include retaining this section of it. The part that doesn't have any distinguishing elements on it is something that we plan on removing. This is the existing building here again, and you can see the relatively new hotel in the back. And this is an alley that's on the west side of our site. And so right now there's just some overhead doors and blank walls facing the alley, and we tend to present a little bit more of a nice facade to that. So this next document is a site plan, and showing kind of the roof plan of our building. One thing I'd like to point out is one of the first things we did when we were developing this is to look at different configurations that our building could have, and then imagining what could happen in the future. We've got this relatively new hotel, but things could happen over here. I'm sure you've probably seen some of those already. So by developing the shape of the building in a T-shape, we didn't maximize the square footage that would have been a potential on the site by doing that, but it allowed more open space on either side to give more breathing room for future development, and we feel that it made better potential views from our dwelling units that we hope to develop there. This is Penn Street, and we're between 4th and 5th. There's an existing parking lot on the south of us, and then as you go further down, you get into the old Union Market buildings that you're all familiar with. I'm not going to bore you with this parking layouts, but we do have 3 levels of underground parking that we're going to have, as Chris said, about 200 spaces. This is our first floor plan, and as Chris mentioned, one of the critical elements of this is that it's a combination of a developer that mostly focuses on apartment communities with Edens, who is strongly into the retail component. And so working together, they're trying to create this development as a continuation of the vision that they have for the Union Market area aesthetically and in terms of type of space that's available. So we have a larger retail space on the west side and a smaller one on the east. Our parking is going to be accessed, and loading is going to be accessed off the top of the alley, so that we won't have to have a curb cut or ask for a curb cut facing any of the streets. Again, these are typical floor plans that are included in your set. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that, but certainly afterwards, if people have questions, we can hang out a little bit and talk to folks about things that they might want to know about. So again, I was talking about this is the existing Maurice building that we're keeping the facade of, and then also, as you can see on the other rendering, we're creating a base that kind of balances out that Maurice facade with a similar kind of brick element, so that the retail, there's a lot of continuity in the retail across the site. Now where the residential entrances, we punctuated that with some glass bays that are kind of inset in the middle, and that's where the canopy in the main entrance to the apartment building residences is going to be located. This next image that we're showing here is a rendering of so this is Penn Street on the south, and then you can see our alley. I was mentioning that we're going to try to create something that's a little kinder to that than what's currently existing, because there's been talk of the people that are developing across the street of possibly putting in some kind of activity that'll make the alley into something that's more than just a functional, utilitarian element, that there could be some more activity there that include shops and maybe artists, things like that. So we want to be sensitive to that. as we develop our plan. One thing that we've been encouraged to do, both by Edens and UDR, is to put as much green in the project as possible. So in addition to having probably close to 50% of our roofs being green roofs, we're also trying to introduce vertical elements of green in the facade, including on the walls surrounding the commercial entrances and also on the canopies above them. And we'll also are trying to incorporate details. One of the things that you see a lot in the Union Market area are these old loading docks, and so what the suggestion here is to come up with something that's kind of a refined element that kind of gives you the feeling of a loading dock, but it's going to be a much more refined version so that it doesn't, it gives a modern contemporary look, but it still ties it into the old market area. And then above, our building is graced with a lot of balconies, because on the south side of our building, since we are at the top of the hill there are going to be some really pleasant views looking to the south. So, you know, in addition to extending canopies out so that people that are walking and going to the shops can have like a covered area, those are some of the basic elements that we're trying to provide. Thank you. If you have any questions.
I wanted to interject. One of the things I like the most about the project that they did not share is the fact that they have 3-bedroom units. And we have large families within our community, so it's nice to know that they're thinking of those families and they're also accommodating those families. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised, and I always think it's an excellent idea for developers to proactively come to the commission and to the community to introduce the project so they don't rush us for our support. And I'm pleased with the direction that you're moving in. It enlivens the area in a way that I think complements that historic area but doesn't overwhelm it. And I think you're moving in the right direction. I like it. I would ask Commissioner Lewis that as you have community meetings, we'd love the opportunity to come and hear more about them so that we can support, you know, hear from your residents and support you. This is a very exciting time for Union Market. It's exceeding our wildest expectations. We fought many years. We gave up many weekends over the years to really bring a vision, a cohesive vision to fruition, and to now see the different projects come together in a way that I think is respects the community and improves upon the community. I think it's a good thing.
And I'll respond to a couple of those comments in a second after the question needs a chance.
No, I just said, do y'all have the parking lot also across the street?
No, this is just the site.
You just purchased the building.
But you had to.
We actually don't even own the building. Right now, we're going through entitlements with Edens, who owns the building, and post entitlement process, PUD process, we would.
Because when is this just for the rendering?
That's the rendering, yes.
It's just, you just put some.
It's showing the foreground to give it some context.
Okay, you just put some doors a lot, just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
This is actually the existing retail base parking lot is here. We've just taken the fence down for the render. This is still where people are walking, and that's the parking lot.
One thing I'd like to say that kind of is consistent with Commissioner Henderson's point is that this building is enabling. So when we were working in the process, the Historic Division placed some designations on the existing structures, and the Office of Planning concept is to, in order to enable a lower density to exist around the older buildings, part of that concept, there's a trade-off where it's kind of like a donut, and so the higher density can help offset some of that. And so this is an example of that zoning approach that the Office of Planning has tried to move forward with.
I think it's successful. It looks
Thanks.
good.
Just to add to that, and to add to the cohesive vision that you mentioned, Edens has been developing streetscape design guidelines that adhere to DEF design principles to respect Gallaudet, scale streets to be very pedestrian friendly. And we've been doing this with DDOT and meeting intensively with DDOT to come up with standards so that no matter where the density gets placed, the street, which which is for everybody, will be accessible to all different, whether people are deaf, they can still use the street, and it will tie it all together to be pedestrian friendly. And this project is really, with the 10-foot deep canopies and the greenery, and the pedestrian friendly materials as an example. What do you think about that?
Is the parking just for the residents or is it public or retail? It's for everybody?
It'll be a mix. So,
Okay.
yeah, so we'll park the underground parking, 200 parking spaces, roughly a 0.4 ratio for the residents. And then there'd be remaining 75 spaces, stalls for retail. So we get retail and residential parking off the street. And so, Commissioner Harrison, to your point of community engagement, something actually Commissioner Lewis has really stressed on this project. So, coming to last month's ANC meeting with Sohail and hearing your concerns, and then subsequently meeting with Commissioner Lewis twice to talk through